All right. Hello and welcome. It's the day before Thanksgiving here today, November, what is it? 22nd? No, it's the 23rd. Tomorrow's the 24th. So, it's a perfect theme for us to talk about getting in the flow. So, today's talk is about this. And then look at that. I'm upping my game. And also, I bought this new webcam that's supposed to have a ring light on it, but the ring light all of a sudden is not working. So I got to send that back. Anyway, no wonder it was on sale. But anyway, don't let the ring light throw you off of the flow of what you're trying to do. All right. So in this little talk, we're going to talk about 5 ways to make the time flow in lessons. And part of the problem is things don't flow. And it's the default position that people who are coming out onto the tennis court are going to find it difficult to get into the flow. And if the coach is not in the flow, how is that coach going to facilitate that student getting into that state? Because the more often that you can be in flow state, then the more efficient you're going to be. All right. So, oh, look at that. I realized I have to type another banner in there. So, ease into it. Now, as you can see, because I fumble around a lot, that would be really challenging if I took it really seriously that I'm supposed to, look perfect and all that. So ease into it, reduce anxiety. All right. Whew. And there it is. Boom. What's that going to do? Yes. So ease into it, reduce anxiety. So, I have some rituals that I do at the beginning of every lesson. We always start every lesson with some really easy ball tossing. It doesn't matter the level of the player. But what that does is it sets the tone of relaxation for the lesson. And the more experience the player has and the better their fine motor control, then the faster that goes. And at a minimum, then we toss the ball back and forth 10 times. During that time, I'm checking in with my student. I'm observing them closely. Do they seem to have a concern? Are they stressed out? Are they really happy and they can't wait to tell me something? Sometimes they even just start telling me something before I even ask, right? Here's a couple other things I wanted to point out. So let's see. Yep, right there is The Art of Coaching High School Tennis and its companion workbook, right? And then you probably even noticed that I flipped the video this time. So, all right. Ease into it, reduce anxiety, check in with people. If sometimes you get people and they just parked and they come running in and it's just everything's difficult. And what just happened? What just happened? Oh, man. That's all. I obviously know what I'm doing. Oh, man. All right, which one am I going to remove? I'm going to remove that one. That's ridiculous. Okay, so reduce anxiety. All right. And it's a good time to you check in with people, find out where they're at. A lot of times what'll happen is people will come in for a first lesson and they didn't plan very well, and maybe they didn't know exactly where they were going, and they didn't think about parking and walking and entering the space, whatever that takes. So, maybe you're coaching on court 32 and it's going to take them 5 minutes to get in there. So they're freaking out, and it's our job to calm them down because that anxiety is going to block the flow. All right. So then the next thing we want to do is eliminate distractions. So, these little guys, can be a problem. And then, here I'm showing off my amazing tech. I have my 2020 Apple SE. Still works. So, you keep that thing silenced, put that away, have a little pocket in my bag where I keep that. On the other hand, one thing I really like is having a watch that where if I want to, I can have notifications on there, and if something's happened, I can see what that is really quick. And if it's an emergency, right? So there's got to be some balance there, because sometimes, there's a message coming in from somebody who's a future lesson on the day, and you have to be able to be available to them, but you don't want to be distracted from being fully present with somebody. A couple of times in the last couple of weeks, I've been at this particular court that is at a busy intersection, and visually distraction, people walking by, people stop and look at the lesson, and all sorts of crazy things happening. So one thing that I will do with my student is I'll stop and I'll say, all right, let's look at what's going on over there. All right, so here's a stop sign at the end of a hill. People always seem to come down the hill too fast, so they kind of the brakes squeak, and then there's somebody walking their dog that way, and then there's somebody stopping to pet the dog going over there. And I'm like, how long do you want to do this? So they realize that they don't want to do that very long. So then once you kind of attend to it for a moment, then you realize, okay, we don't have to be distracted by that. So if you find that you're wanting to look outside the gate, outside the fence, then you need to start to eliminate that. This reminds me of the formula Sean Brawley of Inner Game shared. Performance equals potential minus interference, right? So anxiety is an interference. Distractions are an interference, right? And then the next one is we want to be fully present, and this is something I've had lengthy discussions with Scott Ford, and he has a book on getting into the zone. In the zone. So highly recommend that book. And, being in the zone is actually a lot more attainable than people think. And so as long as you're mindful about certain things, then you can get into the zone. It doesn't have to be this like magical, mystical thing. But essentially, when you're not thinking about the future, all right, and you're not holding the past against yourself, you're not dragging the past forward or trying to pull the future sooner, then you can be fully present. Two mistakes that I see among players often is that they still have something in the past that's bothering them. And they're either trying to make up for something, or they feel bad about it still, or, they think they have to somehow redeem themselves. And the other thing is they're in sometimes too big of a hurry to make the future come sooner. And so then they get distracted by, well, I should have already learned this. So now I feel all this pressure, and then look, I failed again and all that. So, you have your absolute present and you have your flowing present. And when the two things come together, then you are fully present. So here's an example of the flowing present. If I say, now, 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 now. Each time I said now, it was now at that time. But now there's a timeline of when I said the first one and when I said the last one. That's the flowing present. The absolute present is, here I am. And, at this moment, I seem sort of permanent, absolute, right? But even at this moment, little tiny changes are happening. I'm getting a little older right now. I'm a couple seconds older than I was, but seemingly I'm fully present. So it's about being fully engaged in this moment that really can help. So then the next thing is, go. Come on. What's going on here? Detect moments when you or they are not fully present. And I have this one student that I'm working with right now who has been extremely challenged in this way. So she, now what we do is we talk about, okay, are you at this time fully present? And if not, what's the issue? Right. And so, sometimes it's that she's got too many thoughts going on in her head at the one time. Sometimes it's that she's feeling pressure that she should have already learned something already. And it could be that, she's distracted by things happening around. Like sometimes at the court that we go to, there's pickleball being played 2 courts down. So she tends to get a little bit distracted by the sound of the pickleball. So detect those moments. And then when you detect them, then, remind yourself, okay, I need to be fully present. I'm already thinking about something else. I'm thinking about my next lesson, thinking about where I'd rather be than right here, right now. So let's see, no, hold on, stop, come back to being fully present with this person that I'm with and giving them my full attention, right? And Sterling and I talked a lot about attention in an earlier talk. So go on the channel and go look up that one. So detect those things. And then here's another one. And this is a great way to end a lesson, or even begin a lesson, is with a gratitude ritual. So, hey, thank you for coming, right? Or, even starting with, hey, I'm glad you made it. Thank you for coming. This is great. Welcome. And there's some surprising research, and I'm not sure that I necessarily agree with it fully, but Andrew Huberman from Stanford University, who's one of my main sources of great information about the brain, says that there are tremendous benefits from having a gratitude ritual. And there are a couple of great times to practice this. And one of them is immediately when you wake up. So just, say, hey, I'm grateful that I was on the wake up list today, right? Because some people aren't on the wake up list. And, that's tragic. So be grateful that you were on the wake up list today. So, all right, I get another day to go do my thing, right? And then the next one is right as you're going to sleep, reflect back on some good things that happened that day, or even some bad things that happened that are a challenge for you, that you're going to you might need help on those things. I don't know, and then ask for help. But, before going to bed, say, have gratitude. I'm grateful for, these good things that happen and even the bad things that happen. My friend Sterling and I also are big fans of Rodney Norman. And there's this great video where he says, people talk about the unprecedented times that we're living in, but, all times really are unprecedented because nobody has lived at this time before. And, and some good things are going to happen and some bad things are going to happen and more bad things, maybe even a few more bad things. But, so far you have, a good track record of surviving all those things. So, it's very humorous, but also deeply philosophical at the same time. So, everywhere we go is uncharted territory. No man steps in the same river twice. right? Nor is he the same man, nor is it the same river. So, and that applies to women too, and all that. So, but the surprising research, I was on a little digression there, from Andrew Huberman, is that the chief benefit of gratitude is when you receive it from others. And that surprised me. I thought, when you give gratitude, then that's when you get it, you get the benefit. But actually, the best benefit to your brain plasticity and the other positive effects on your brain are when you receive it. But then here's your aha moment. It's what kind of environment do you create? Do you create an environment that's full of gratitude? Because if you do, then gratitude will flow. And, not everyone you thank is going to thank you back, but many will. And so, go through your day and try to thank as many people as you can. Also, it can be a spiritual thing. So direct your Thanksgiving towards. Yes. And anyway, so that's 5 ways to make time flow, right? We want to be in a really good flow state. Let me see if I can get this back up there. So it takes a moment for it to come on there. That's very interesting. All right. So 5 ways to make time flow. And, when you're grateful that, the student is learning and you're making the most of your time, then making the most of the time by being in a flow state not only makes you more valuable, but it makes your student more valuable. And ultimately, the way that you're going to be most successful, the way I'm going to, is by adding the most value. So this is a really helpful way. So, hey, I thank you for taking a look at how do I do this? All right. The Art of Coaching High School Tennis, both the main book and the workbook. Now, if you look at the reviews, there's somebody named Courtney who I think got a first edition, and that first edition was truly awful. It really was. But this is the 3rd edition that's out now, and all the things that she wrote about are valid, but they're for the wrong edition. And for the life of me, I can't get Amazon to do anything about that. So that's a shame, but you know what? I'm grateful for Amazon that they have, created this democratization of information, and that I can publish my book there and I don't have to rely on a traditional publisher to get my books published. So, all right. I would love to hear your comments, your questions. I'm going to be coming to Australia January 29th through February 13th. And available for clinics, coach training, and private lessons. So Ryan Hanrahan, who's in the Sydney area, is hosting me, and I'm really honored to be able to go to another country and go teach. So can't wait for that. And hey, if you happen to be in the Bay Area, I'm in Oakland, California. And so if you happen to be in the area and you want a lesson, or you want to get a cup of coffee, or, have a beer or something, look me up and we'll try to get that going. So just go out and flow with it, and, have a great time and enjoy this time with family and friends, and be grateful for all those good things that come your way. Thank you for watching.